When you look at Hollywood through the lens of paparazzi flashes, it seems like an endless parade of flawless skin and easy fortune. But the spotlight can be merciless, etching every bad decision into a star's appearance. Today, we're counting down 15 celebrities whose looks have deteriorated alongside their public standing. 18th, Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson's rise from heartthrob action star to Oscar-winning auteur should have ensured evergreen prestige. Instead, a pattern of public meltdowns and incendiary language turned him into one of Hollywood's most radioactive figures. The descent began with his 2006 Malibu DUI arrest, during which he launched an anti-Semitic rant at the arresting officer, a tirade so venomous he later issued a formal apology and entered rehab. Further audio leaks in 2010 captured Gibson using racial slurs and threatening violence against a former girlfriend, cementing a reputation for volatility. Physically, the toll has been unmistakable. Now 69, Gibson's once athletic build has thickened, and deep furrows slice across a weathered face, often framed by an unruly gray beard. Red carpet photos show swollen features and bloodshot eyes, hinting at years of hard living. The transformation contrasts jarringly with the square-jawed hero audiences remember from Lethal Weapon. Industry insiders whisper that studios still weigh his box office draw against the risk of new outbursts. While smaller, faith-based projects have offered a soft landing, Gibson's Hollywood currency remains discounted, his aging visage a visual shorthand for scandal fatigue and squandered goodwill. 17. Charlie Sheen. Few careers have imploded as spectacularly as Charlie Sheen's. Once the highest-paid actor on television, banking nearly $2 million per episode of 2.5 Men, Sheen detonated his stardom in 2011 with profanity-laced rants about tiger blood and winning. Substance abuse, HIV disclosures, and public feuds followed. Recent headlines show little peace. In December 2023, a Malibu neighbor allegedly assaulted Sheen, underscoring his ongoing volatility. Time has not been kind. At 59, Sheen's gaunt frame and hollowed cheeks contrast starkly with the boyish rogue of Wall Street. Paparazzi shots reveal thinning hair and perpetual pallor, consequences of decades of alcohol and drug use combined with antiretroviral therapy. While sobriety stints and newfound single fatherhood have prompted tentative TV comeback rumors, producers remain wary. Friends say the former sitcom king still flashes comedic brilliance, but his appearance often startles longtime fans. Sunken eyes, deep nasolabial lines, and nervous tics that betray hard-won restraint. Sheen's aging therefore reads like a cautionary storyboard, each wrinkle and lost ounce a frame in Hollywood's most public morality play about hubris, addiction, and the steep interest rate fame charges on reckless living. 16th, Roseanne Barr. Roseanne Barr once redefined primetime authenticity, turning a blue-collar sitcom into a ratings juggernaut. But the 2018 tweet comparing former Obama advisor Valerie Jarrett to an ape set her legacy ablaze. Barr, 72, has since doubled down on provocation. Holocaust-skewering jokes in 2023 drew fresh backlash from Jewish groups and media watchdogs. In January 2025, she released a pro-Trump rap video, filmed in box braids and gold chains, telling viewers, "Granny's going bad," while taunting rapper Eminem. The visual shift is nearly as jarring as the rhetoric. Gone is the breezy, relatable matriarch. In her place stands a gaunt figure with severely bleached hair, exaggerated fillers, and tattoos peeking from oversized streetwear. Close-ups reveal taut cheeks and lips that strain to move naturally, suggesting repeated cosmetic overhauls. Her podcast appearances feature harsh studio lighting that accentuates age spots and deep forehead ridges. Barr now pitches projects outside mainstream Hollywood, including a self-funded sitcom about a gun-toting farm family saving America with the Bible. Networks hesitate, citing advertiser risk. Her physical and reputational aging thus proceed in lockstep. A once pioneering everywoman, remade into an internet provocateur whose transformed visage mirrors a worldview hardened by cancellation and self-inflicted exile. 15. Chevy Chase. At his late 1970s peak, Chevy Chase looked like the future of American comedy. Tall, athletic, and possessed of a patrician charm that set him apart from the shaggier icons of Saturday Night Live. Major studios paid him record salaries for pratfall hits such as National Lampoon's Vacation and Fletch, betting that audiences would never tire of his sardonic grin. The fall began almost immediately. Co-workers complained of arrogance. Bill Murray famously labeled him medium talent during an on-set fistfight. By the 2000s, a string of box office flops left him dependent on television for relevance. His stint on Community might have been a redemption arc, yet cast members allege he spewed racist jokes and stormed off set when storylines mocked his age. Physically, the transformation is hard to miss. Once limber enough to parody Gerald Ford's falls, Chase moves gingerly, his shoulders hunched, and his face puffy from years of yo-yo weight gain. Recent convention appearances show a man struggling for breath, voice lowered to a raspy murmur. He dismisses concerns by declaring, "I like who I am." But Hollywood, long since finished with second chances, has largely turned the page. Chase's aging isn't merely biological. It mirrors a career built on genial mockery that curdled into bitterness when the laughs faded. 14. Madonna. Madonna once rewrote pop's rulebook every 3 years, turning controversy into currency. But reinvention has its limits. At 65, the singer's marathon of fillers, facelifts, and filtered selfies projects more desperation than innovation. Facial symmetry has given way to pillowy rigidity. Cheekbones and jawline seem carved from wax, inhibiting the eyebrow-arched charisma that powered stadium tours. The aesthetic battle runs parallel to chronic social media stunts that leave even loyal fans pleading for restraint. Her 2023-24 Celebration Tour exemplified the contradiction. Sold-out venues applauded her catalog, yet viral clips showed her missing choreography cues while younger dancers compensated. Industry peers praise her stamina in private, but whisper that endless tweaks have blurred recognition. What makes Madonna's aging especially striking is what it could have been: a blueprint for mature artistry in an ageist business. Instead, each procedure feels like an admission that the groundbreaking provocateur cannot accept a life stage she once dared other women to embrace. The result is not mere vanity, but a feedback loop. Public mockery prompts another cosmetic gamble, which invites fresh derision. In clinging to the illusion of perpetual 30-something invincibility, Madonna may preserve her headline relevance, but she sacrifices the authenticity that once made her revolutions matter. Trahynasty, Steven Seagull. Steven Seagull's early screen persona has collapsed under the weight of time and controversy. The actor's frame, once a billboard for disciplined martial arts, has reportedly gained more than 100 pounds. Recent direct-to-video thrillers film him seated or strolling slowly, edits masking limited mobility while doubles perform kicks he can no longer execute. Allegations of misconduct have grown just as conspicuously. Castmates from Jenny McCarthy to Portia de Rossi describe audition rooms where Seagull pushed sexual boundaries. Civil suits accuse him of assault. Law enforcement agencies in California and Arizona have opened inquiries. Professionally exiled, Seagull embraced Russian citizenship in 2016, lauding Vladimir Putin and appearing on state TV to defend the invasion of Ukraine. The move earned him U.S. sanctions and erased what little mainstream cachet he retained. Physiologically, the once sharp jawline is obscured by a thick goatee dyed shoe polish black. His trademark ponytail, now thinning, underscores the theatricality of a man clinging to a bygone image. Where early interviews showcased calm Zen aphorisms, modern sound bites lurch between conspiracy theories and self-aggrandizement. Seagull's aging is thus a total mise-en-scène collapse. Body, reputation, and politics sagging together, proving that authenticity matters more for longevity than any choreographed wrist lock. 12th, Rudy Giuliani. America once hailed Rudy Giuliani as the steel-nerved mayor who steadied New York in the smoke of 9/11. 2 decades later, televised press conferences show a visibly diminished figure. Gaunt cheeks, perpetually reddened eyes, and a voice cracking under strain. The physical deterioration mirrors an astonishing reputational free fall. At 81, Giuliani stands indicted on multiple charges tied to efforts to overturn the 2020 U.S. election, mired in civil suits seeking millions for defamation. Stress erupts on screen. Hair dye streaking down his face during a bewildering 2020 news briefing became instant meme fodder, as did courtroom whispers that his breath betrayed heavy drinking. Longtime colleagues shake their heads at a man they say chased relevance until it consumed him. Legal fees reportedly exceed any income from cable appearances, forcing the sale of property and the diminishment of a once formidable consulting empire. Giuliani's aging thus plays out as live theater. Each new indictment pressurizes health already compromised by years of relentless travel and rhetorical combat. The stoic mayor who once strode ground zero in dust-covered suits now shuffles between courthouses, jaw clenched against cameras documenting every tremor. His story illustrates how swift and merciless the glide path can be from statesman to spectacle, especially when the quest to extend power outruns personal limits. 11. Mickey Rourke. Mickey Rourke's face once sold smolder, half masculine menace, half soft vulnerability. By 1991, however, the actor abandoned Hollywood to box professionally, sustaining fractures to cheekbones and nasal cartilage that required reconstructive surgery. Those operations evolved into a cycle of cosmetic fixes. Each attempt to restore old symmetry further distorted it. Today, at 72, Rourke's visage looks surgically laminated. Lips appear overinflated. Eyes sit in tight rims. Implants sharpen cheeks into angles unforeseen by nature. Career comebacks tell a similar tale of near hits and self-sabotage. The wrestler earned Oscar buzz, yet Rourke's follow-up choices squandered momentum. In interviews, he vacillates between candor about addiction and incendiary remarks against former collaborators. Gym selfies show dedication to fitness, but cigarette-roughened speech betrays lingering vices. The tragedy is nuanced. Rourke's weathered exterior reflects both literal combat damage and a deeper struggle with identity. Boxing was his refuge from Hollywood's phoniness. Surgery became a refuge from boxing's scars. Each refuge exacted its toll, trapping him in an aesthetic limbo where critics debate whether they're witnessing artifice, resilience, or both. Rourke remains defiantly himself, but the cost is a living reminder that chasing a mirror's approval can leave the mirror in shards. 10th, Courtney Love. Few artists embody rock and roll volatility like Courtney Love. In the early 90s, her unfiltered howl and thrift store glamour made whole a feminist counterpunch to grunge machismo. Decades of addiction, prescription dependencies, and public meltdowns have since etched themselves onto her appearance. At 60, Love's once porcelain skin carries the waxy tautness of frequent fillers, punctuated by periods where she lets cosmetic maintenance lapse, resulting in a jarring oscillation between overtreated and weather-beaten. The body of evidence is equally chaotic. Twitter tirades accusing music executives of conspiracy, lawsuits over Nirvana royalties, estrangement and reconciliation with daughter Frances Bean, attempts at sobriety and acting revivals dissolved amid relapses or creative clashes. Friends describe a brilliance hampered by bouts of paranoia, while critics note that her best recent performances occur on stage, guitar in hand, when raw talent momentarily overcomes the years. Love's aging is dramatic because it remains in flux. One month she appears radiant on a Paris catwalk, the next paparazzi capture her gaunt outside a detox clinic. The visual roller coaster underscores a central tension: authenticity versus survival. In refusing to sanitize her story, Love continues to personify rebellion. Knee Axl Rose. In 1987, Axl Rose vaulted onto MTV as rock's new demigod, rail-thin, snake-hipped, and capable of a 5-octave screech that made Welcome to the Jungle a generational anthem. Excess soon rivaled talent. Years of late starts, tour cancellations, and backstage rage left bandmates quitting and vocal cords scarred. By the 2010s, Rose's baritone had dropped. High notes turned into rasps or vanished entirely. Visually, the metamorphosis is stark. To combat weight gain, he cycles through crash diets that leave skin sagging. Hair extensions and bandanas attempt continuity with his youth, but highlight the difference. Concert videos show him pacing cautiously, sharing choruses with backing singers. Social media commentary is brutal. Some fans defend the 62-year-old's endurance. Others lament a hero who overstayed his prime. Professionally, Rose achieved a partial redemption with Guns N' Roses' 2016 Not in This Lifetime reunion, grossing billions but revealing vocal fragility nightly. His stint filling in for AC/DC's Brian Johnson proved he could still deliver, yet doctors reportedly impose strict rest protocols. Rose's aging thus symbolizes the physical ceiling of hard-living rebellion. The swaggering showman who once made 70,000 people wait 3 hours now battles time itself. Every scratchy chorus is a reminder that even rock gods must negotiate with mortality. Brigitte Bardot. Brigitte Bardot's carefree sensuality redefined 1950s cinema, but the raconteur of Saint-Tropez has spent her later decades fighting different battles for animal rights and against modern multicultural France. Since retiring in 1973, Bardot has been convicted 6 times for inciting racial hatred, most recently in 2021 after calling inhabitants of Réunion Island degenerate savages. Now 90 and largely secluded, Bardot eschews cosmetic surgery, allowing sun-creased skin and silver hair to frame a face still recognizable beneath lines earned outdoors with her beloved animals. Admirers praise her authenticity. Critics see physical neglect reinforcing bitter rhetoric. Interviews reveal nostalgia sliding into grievance. Laments about France losing its identity mix with disdain for Me Too. Courts fine her, yet supporters crowdfund payments, exposing deep societal fault lines. The visual contrast between the bronzed ingenue of "And God Created Woman" and today's reclusive crusader is breathtaking. It is not simply the erosion of beauty, but its repurposing. Bardot weaponizes her iconic past, portraying herself as a persecuted truth-teller whose wrinkles prove she owes glamour to no one. Her aging therefore stands at the crossroads of aesthetics and ideology, proof that charisma can curdle, and that cultural immortality offers no immunity from the consequences of speech. Siedmiu Marlon Brando. Marlon Brando began as lightning in a bottle, method intensity married to matinee idol allure. Yet by the early 1970s, the 24-inch waist and revolutionary fervor were gone, replaced by rumored gluttony and mounting eccentricities. During Apocalypse Now, Brando arrived overweight and unrehearsed, forcing Francis Ford Coppola to shoot him in shadows. On the island of Dr. Moreau, he demanded a dwarf in matching outfits and wore a metal bucket as a hat, halting production with whims. Weight reportedly peaked near 400 pounds, accelerated by nightly ice cream binges on his Tahitian atoll. Personal chaos paralleled professional decline. Son Christian jailed for manslaughter. Daughter Cheyenne's tragic suicide. Brando's health spiraled into diabetes and heart disease, leading to his 2004 death at 80. The physical collapse mirrored an inner erosion. Where early Brando prowled like a panther, late-era interviews show a wheezing enigma offering cryptic social commentary while tethered to an oxygen tank. Critics debate whether his descent was self-destruction or protest against Hollywood's commodification. Whatever the motive, no star ever fell from such heights. From redefining masculinity in a streetcar named Desire to recording lines for Superman that he refused to read until paid a then-record $3.7 million. Brando's aging remains the cautionary benchmark. 6. Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer's ascent was swift, Juilliard prodigy, Top Gun's icy nemesis, and a Batman chosen to replace Michael Keaton. Yet colleagues labeled him volatile, and prestige projects dried up. In 2014, he confirmed a fight with throat cancer. Radiation, chemotherapy, and a tracheostomy permanently altered his voice. Kilmer's slim frame withered, and a feeding tube complicated daily life. He refused to quit. An Amazon documentary revealed handwritten journals and home video archives, humanizing a star once mocked for ego. Technology allowed him a cameo in Top Gun, Maverick, his digitally recreated voice bringing audiences to tears. Even so, recurrent pneumonia proved fatal. Kilmer died on April 1, 2025, aged 65, with pneumonia listed as the primary cause and long-term cancer treatment a factor. Kilmer's final photos show a gaunt figure wearing scarves to conceal the tracheal stoma, yet eyes still bright with mischief. Former rivals offered fulsome tributes. Tom Cruise paused CinemaCon for a moment of silence. Oliver Stone called him turbulent, contradictory, and exciting. Physically diminished, Kilmer nevertheless engineered an unlikely redemption, proving that resilience can outshine decay. His story stands apart on this list. Terrible aging, yes, but met with artistry and humility that recast a decline into a valediction. 5th, Lindsay Lohan. Lindsay Lohan's trajectory from Disney darling to tabloid fixation unfolded in real time. Between 2007 and 2014, she accrued 2 DUI convictions, multiple rehab stints, and a jail sentence that, while brief, cemented her image as Hollywood's most vivid cautionary tale. Mugshots revealed accelerated aging, under-eye bags, pallid complexion, and swelling linked to alcohol bloat. By age 28, she appeared closer to 40. Cosmetic interventions aimed to restore youth, but instead produced tight cheeks atop uneven skin texture. In 2018, Lohan retreated to Dubai, citing stricter privacy laws. The distance allowed small victories: a sanitized MTV reality show and a 2022 Netflix holiday rom-com signaled tentative stability. Yet paparazzi shots continue to capture fluctuations in weight and complexion, suggesting ongoing struggles. At 38, Lohan looks older than peers, untouched by early career burnout. More telling is the resume gap. A once-growing filmography stalled during years others refined their craft. Her face is thus a ledger not just of substances, but opportunity cost. Fans root for a comeback, pointing to flashes of the sharp comedic timing that powered Mean Girls. But Hollywood can be unforgiving. Whether Lohan ages into a mature character actress or a trivia night punchline depends on choices she makes: sober, consistent, and far from the cameras she once chased. 4. Nick Nolte. Named People magazine's Sexiest Man Alive in 1992, Nick Nolte epitomized rugged magnetism: sun-bleached hair, surfer build, gravelly baritone. Years of drinking and GHB abuse upended that image, culminating in a 2002 DUI arrest immortalized by a wild-haired mugshot that went viral before viral was a term. The photo revealed bloodshot eyes and drooping features, a shock to audiences who last remembered him as a grizzled leading man in The Prince of Tides. Nolte, now 84, has embraced character roles, often cast as sages or hermits, whose weary visages mirror his own. He claims sobriety, crediting Maui hikes for health, yet decades of hard living left irreversible marks: pronounced capillaries, tremor in speech, and a stooped gait. Interviews oscillate between lucid reflections on craft and tangents about past benders, underscoring a lingering fragility. Unlike some peers, Nolte rejects cosmetic fixes. Paparazzi capture him in rumpled Hawaiian shirts, silver hair uncombed, walking barefoot along roadside shoulders. Fans applaud the authenticity. Critics cite self-neglect. Both perspectives miss the nuance. Nolte's weathered exterior now functions as artistic tool, lending gravitas to streaming dramas and crime sagas. Still, the contrast with his 90s pin-up era is jarring. 3. Terrence Howard. Terrence Howard burst onto Hollywood with soulful intensity, earning an Oscar nod for Hustle and Flow. But success birthed conflict. During negotiations for Iron Man 2, Howard's demand for pay parity with Robert Downey Jr. prompted Marvel to replace him with Don Cheadle. The public saw arrogance, insiders noted unpaid debts, and arguments about math theories. Physically, Howard at 55 shows stress lines deeper than typical middle-age wear. Weight fluctuates, hair grays, then appears dyed. He attributes facial puffiness to late nights working on new geometry. Judicial documents reveal multiple spousal abuse allegations. Restraining orders tarnish his image. Post-2019, Howard announced acting retirement to promote a frequency-based propulsion device, only to accept cameo roles months later. The disconnect between talent and trajectory is visible on red carpets. Eyes darting, smiles strained, suit sleeves either too tight or oddly tailored. Colleagues praise his artistry while bracing for unpredictable mood swings. Aging, in Howard's case, is less about wrinkles and more about credibility erosion. A once bankable name now treated warily by studios that fear headline risk. Unless he stabilizes both personal life and public messaging, his mid-century presence risks being remembered not for stellar performances, but for squandered promise. Gary Busey. Gary Busey's Oscar-nominated turn as Buddy Holly suggested a career of nuanced roles. Then, in 1988, an unhelmeted motorcycle crash caused traumatic brain injury, altering impulse control and cognition. Friends describe a personality shift. heightened volume, erratic logic, and evangelical outbursts about Buseyisms. Cosmetic dentistry left him with oversized veneers, turning a once charming grin into a cartoonish overbite that dominates his face. Reality TV capitalized on the unpredictability. On Celebrity Apprentice and Big Brother UK, Busey delivered viral moments that drew laughs but masked genuine impairment. At 80, he appears frail but restless, hair wild, eyes darting as if midway through a private punchline. Recent groping allegations at a horror film convention resulted in misdemeanor charges, further dimming a legacy already eclipsed by caricature. The aging curve here fuses physical oddity and public spectacle. Busey's once taut jawline sags, skin bears surgical and accident scars. Yet the deeper tragedy is cognitive. Interviews meander, sentences loop back on themselves. The man who studied Holly's chord changes obsessively, now struggles to follow questions. Fans argue whether exploitation fuels his bookings, but Hollywood rarely pauses for nuance. In Busey, it showcases the high-wire act of selling eccentricity while ignoring the price paid by the performer. 1. O.J. Simpson. Orenthal James Simpson, once the embodiment of athletic grace, finished life as America's most polarizing cautionary tale. An NFL legend turned actor, Simpson's fame imploded after the 1994 murders of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman. Though acquitted criminally, he was held liable in a civil suit, and his 2007 armed robbery conviction sent him to a Nevada prison for 9 years. Images from that incarceration showed stark decline. The former running back's muscular frame softened, hair receded into gray patches, shoulders stooped. Released in 2017, Simpson walked with a cane and appeared disoriented in paparazzi videos. February 2024 brought news of metastatic prostate cancer. By April 10th, he was dead at 76 in Las Vegas. The physical deterioration pales next to moral collapse. Sponsors erased his commercials. The Pro Football Hall of Fame faced calls to remove his bust. In retirement, Simpson posted golf course videos discussing fantasy football, prompting public outrage over his casual tone. Friends noted a man living in denial, more concerned with social media engagement than contrition. His death certificate confirmed cremation, his ashes scattered at an undisclosed location. Simpson's aging encapsulates this list's thesis. Looks fade, reputations fracture, and inner character eventually brands the exterior. From Heisman hero to cultural pariah, every wrinkle and slowed step embodied decades of scandal that no cosmetic or courtroom victory could erase. Aging is inevitable. How we age is, to a degree, a choice. The 15 figures profiled here reveal patterns that transcend gossip. Addictions left untreated, egos left unchecked, accountability forever dodged. Their faces and bodies become living documents, recording late-night binges, legal wranglings, or spiritual reckonings in a kind of biological ink. Some, Kilmer, Nolte, show glimmers of redemption, proving deterioration can coexist with dignity. Others confirm that when hubris collides with time, the aftermath is rarely flattering. For audiences, these stories disrupt the illusion that fame preserves youth. For celebrities still climbing, they offer a cautionary mirror. The spotlight may brighten skin for a season, but it cannot hide the costs forever.